Hey there, this is Iman, that Philly wholesaler chick, and I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of Real Estate Wholesaling Explained. And today, as you can see on the screen, my guest is Tristan Mitchell, who currently is in the Shreveport, Louisiana market. Tristan, I don't know, maybe some of those who may be watching, you may have bumped into Tristan. You may be Facebook friends with Tristan on, on Facebook. And you probably have been witnessing a lot of the amazing success that he's had here with wholesaling houses full time. And Tristan has an interesting story to share with everybody because just moments ago I found out myself. You'll be shocked at how long he's been wholesaling houses and. Some of the numbers, hopefully you'll, feel comfortable sharing that, Tristan, for folks, simply just, because it's inspiration, and motivation for those who may be stuck or whatever, and to hear, the kind of success that you've been having is, might just be that turning point for them. So I'm going to turn over to Tristan. I mean, first, pretty much, we all have a story. Before we entered real estate, we had a 9-to-5 job. Maybe we didn't have a 9-to-5 job, but most of us, we were all doing something before real estate. So if you could pretty much share, I guess, with everyone, Tristan, what type of work you were doing prior to wholesaling houses, and then what exactly was it that piqued your interest with wholesaling real estate or real estate in general? So.
Okay, yeah. Once again, my name is Tristan, you know what I mean? I'm from Louisiana. The thing that I was doing before, I was in school. I've been in college since 2004. I had a couple of things to keep me from finishing. I actually have a year left now, and I was in school when I started wholesaling. I'm a barber, I'm a licensed barber by trade. That's what I've been doing since I was 12 years old, so I've always been in that field. But at the time when I started wholesaling, I was actually working at a call center, which was a terrible job. I hated every minute of it. But I was there because I needed to be there because I was in a new city. So it was slow with cutting hair and building a clientele. So I had to do something as far as trying to get some cash flow. And the thing that kind of got me into wholesaling, I had read a book, and this is actually the book. I would suggest anybody to read this book. My dad actually, you see it.
Right, The Law of Success.
The Law of Success. By Napoleon Hill. Yeah, and another book that I suggest is The Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Think and Grow Rich is also by Napoleon Hill. It's kind of a trimmed fat version of this one. And it was something else but anyway, I'll talk about it more along. But at the time I was working there, so I had read this book and I had read Rich Dad and Poor Dad, and I've always wanted a greater success than what I was doing. At the time I was making like $600 every 2 weeks, which is nothing. It comes out to, I guess, like $12,000.
Call center, right, Tristan?
Yeah.
Call center.
I was doing broadband technical support, you know what I mean? But I saw the benefit in that as I got down the road, though, and got into my business. And I had always been the type to start businesses and things like that, but never had found any real success. But the thing that brought me into wholesale and in real estate in general was my landlord at the time, which was a cool guy, I used to talk to him about business and talk to him about success and stuff. And this was at a time when I was having a rough time paying him my rent, and I was just talking to him and I was just saying, I'm trying to come up with something to make some money. I want to be successful and stuff like that. And he's actually a builder, like a contractor and builder of new homes. So he's an investor himself. So he kind of brought up, like, I think you'd be good to be a real estate agent. And I never thought about it. I was like, damn, I probably could. Because I had seen $1 Million Listing, and I love that show. And I thought, man, they make a lot of damn money selling houses. And I was like, man, I maybe could do it, but I had never really thought about putting it into action. So, after we had that conversation, I just let it go. And one day I was at work, and I had gotten a check. One of my checks, And I got the check, and after taxes and after all the other shit, like, it wasn't even gonna cover my bills or nothing. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of in the car like, man, it's gotta be a better way than this. You know what I mean? It's gotta be a better way than what I'm doing right now, because this is not it. I had given up partying, I had given up blowing money and stuff like that, and I still was not able to live life the way I wanted to. So I was pretty much miserable. And so that night, I go into prayer, I go into meditation, which I'm very heavy into, as far as spirituality. So that helps me a lot in my journey also. But, that evening I was praying and meditating and things like that. And I went on YouTube, and I just so happened to type into the search bar real estate. And what comes up on real estate was Adore Sonia talking about wholesaling real estate. Wow. So, and I had never heard of this before, but something in my spirit kind of connected to that. So it was kind of like, man, I'm listening to him, and I know it was a universe, because to see somebody that's the same age as me and kind of share the same story as me, and to see them finding success in something, it was like, okay, I'm kind of attracted to this, you know what I mean? So I started listening to wholesaling real estate, different people, a lot of Adore stuff. I did that for like 2 weeks. I listened to Adore, Sonia, Mike Nelson, Iman, Tyrone Taylor, Sean Terry, Daniel Wiapi, and a couple other people, who I can't really think of right now, but that was the 6 main people that I listened to a lot of and followed through emails and things like that. And so I saturated myself in wholesaling real estate for like 2 weeks, and mind you, I'm at the job, I'm miserable. So I'm really like hungry to do something different. So I'm like, okay. And the thing, and I saw about buying and holding and renting properties, and I knew I didn't have the credit or the money to get a property at this time. So I'm like, man, I can't do that. And then I saw Fix and Flip, and it talks about hard money loans and things like that. And I knew I didn't have any down payments or any access to a hard money lender at the time to do fix and flips, or to have my own cash to put down to get the loan. So wholesaling was just like, okay, you don't need no money down, you don't need no credit. You just got to figure out how to do this shit. You know what I mean? So that was my main focus, was trying to figure out how to do this. For the main time, like finding the contract that I was comfortable with, finding out is just a market for me to do this in. And after that, I was ready to put it into action. So I put out my first bandit signs after. Yeah.
So was this all this, mental conversation you were having with yourself, Christian? Was this during that 2-week period before you even took action?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? What contract am I going to use? When the fire really lit under me, that like, this is something I really want to do. I mean, I wasn't even thinking that far. I think, so that's impressive that you were even thinking along those lines during this whole 2 week of just like immersing yourself, in video after video, or, article after article, or whatever you were, all the other things that you were doing, that you were like even thinking that far ahead. I think that's impressive, because I don't know too many people that probably could even say that, and then for you to take action as quickly as you did. I mean, you're putting bandit signs out. I mean, how did you even know where to get freaking bandit signs?
Well, this is actually what happened. I remembered I had a friend of mine that I had met here in Shreveport, and he had said something about real estate before. And by this time I didn't pretty much learned everything about wholesaling, because I literally had saturated myself every day, all night, in watching YouTube videos, webinars, podcasts, all this stuff, like learning, writing down information, seeing what was going to be my niche, seeing what I would do, like planning like this. Like planning all this time, because like I said before, I had, it's like you can have all this potential, and you want to do something, and you want to put a positive spin on your life. And when you finally find something your spirit says go for it, you go for it. You know what I mean? I've always been a businessman, like an entrepreneur, spirited person. So, I mean, when I found something like this, it was something I had to jump all over. But the thing with the bandit signs was, when I started when I was still working at the call center, I actually remember that a friend of mine had said that he had been dealing with real estate, but I knew he wasn't a real estate agent. So he had actually moved to Lafayette, Louisiana. So and that's how the universe kind of responds and the law of attraction comes into effect. You know what I mean? Because for me to be trying to go down this path and for it just to pop in my mind that, hey, you remember that guy that said he was into real estate? You know what I mean? So I called him up, and he was living in Lafayette, like I said, but he was supposed to be coming back out here. And you know, I'm on the phone and I'm talking to him, and like, it ends up he was doing wholesaling. So I'm like, damn, okay, well, what can you tell me about it? You know what I'm saying? So, and so, you know, we talked about it.
I want to interrupt you, and I think it's important. I hate to have to do that to you. I don't even think that we even, or, you know, I don't think that you even mentioned how long ago this was, Tristan.
No, that was last in 2013 in September. Well, I think I started like listening to like webinars at the end of August. I'm sorry, but I put out my first. What is it, August, October? What is it? August, September, October? Oh yeah, at the end of August, I was like listening. That's when I first was introduced to wholesaling. Right. And I put out my first bandage because I got fired from my job September 8th, and I was already like into real estate, wholesaling real estate.
Right.
So
let's count.
So I must have put up.
Let's count. So September will be month 1, October, November, December, January. Now, when I bumped into Tristan, you know, when we were initially supposed to do this video interview, he had been 5 minutes, feels like 5 minutes. I know that most people are like, no, he don't even do it 5 minutes, but 5 months in from the time that he saw Adora's video, okay, until, you know, when I bumped into him on Facebook, now we're in month 6, and Tristan has done, I'm going to let Tristan share with everybody, but I mean, he's done some fantastic deals since then, right? So go ahead.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna get into what I've made so far eventually, because I think the story and the struggle, because in the beginning it was a major struggle for me. You know, it was hard. You know, it was hard because I was going through so much in my personal life as well as trying to get the business started. You know, but I had made up in my mind, you know, I'm gonna get this done even if I gotta stay in a homeless shelter. I don't care. You know, because I've been struggling my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I'm from a neighborhood that most people probably wouldn't even want to go to. You know what I mean? And that's how I grew up. But you know, like I said, I had talked to my friend about it, and he was moving back to Shreveport, and he had done some wholesale deals, and I thought he knew a lot more than he knew. But he knew enough to more than anything encourage me on my journey and be like, hey man, I've made money doing this. You're going to make money. You don't have to work. And he actually told me when I was going through so much, he told me a year from now, money is going to be the least of your worries. So, you know, things like that, and just pointing me in the right direction. Like, he told me the title company he had been using here in Shreveport. I've never used a title company yet because the buyer that I use likes another title company. But, you know, it was him who kind of like was there for me and the person I could relate to on my journey. So, you know, God sent him there for a reason, for the kind of keep me encouraged and keep me moving forward. And, you know, he's since now I haven't like done no deals with him or nothing like that because he kind of flaked out in the struggle part of it. You know, and like I was saying, I was going through financial hell in the beginning because I started listening to stuff at the end of August, and then he had told me where the plastic shop was here. Like, so I go straight to a plastic factory to get my bandit sign, and at the time I probably had like enough money to buy probably 15 bandit signs. And I went and bought 15 bandit signs with my last money. I bought a box of roof nails and a hammer. And like after that I'm broke. You know what I'm saying? Like my girlfriend who's standing right here, you know, she was here for me a lot of the time.
Hey.
She was here for me a lot of the time and starting my business up and things like that, you know. But I was determined to, like I said, if I had to stay at the homeless shelter or whatever, or go broke behind it, I was going to do it. And I put those signs up, and I got my first house under contract probably like a month in. Wow. And in the time when like it was a struggle, I had lost my job at the call center. I got fired because And mind you, at the time, I started getting calls off my bandit signs, so I would like log out of my phone at work and go outside and take calls from sellers and like writing, because I had like wrote out this seller questionnaire. So I would go like fill out these questionnaires for my seller, go jump back on the phone and stuff like that. And that's the mindset I was in at this time. Like, I don't give a damn about this job. I'm trying to sell houses, because the stuff that you guys were saying, I believe you guys when you know what I'm saying? But so it ended up I got fired from my job for something that was my fault. It's probably because I stopped caring when I found out about wholesaling real estate. But you know, but I got my first house under contract, and that was the one I started talking to a door, and I just sent it to the door like, man, you know, I got this house, you know, I got it under contract. This guy, you know, it was rough at first because I was getting a lot of calls on a lot of houses, but and even on this one, when I first pulled up to the house, it was like this huge duplex with an apartment on the back, right? And it was run down, like it was bad off. And the guy, when I got there, he was like, okay, yeah, man, I see so much potential in this property. And I see it too. Like, if I had the money to fix it up, I think it'll be a great thing to fix up. But I didn't know much about negotiation at the time. I didn't know much about my market. That was the most important part, learning the market here in Shreveport. And the way I learned my market was jumping off head first 5150. You know, I'm going in the water with the sharks. I'm going to swim. I'm going to learn my own way. Because that's, like I said before, that's the type of environment I grew up in, you know, but you know, so, and this guy, like, he had a price at like $40,000 at first, and I'm thinking I'm doing something because I talked him down to $20,000. So I'm like, yeah, you know, I didn't want to be too excited. I got I'm listening to Sean Terry. I got my forms with my contracts with me. I had got a one-pager offline. So I got my contracts. I got them filled out. I'm like, yeah. You know, so I'm like, I can sell this thing for $45,000. Yeah. I'm talking about it was a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I didn't know it at the time because this is my first house. So I put the signs out on the thing, and I had written up bandit signs on the house. You know, huge duplex for sale, only $45,000, my number, stuff like that. And I had a lot of calls on it. A lot of people went by, but nobody wanted it because it was in a part of town that's not great. It's okay. It was a huge project. Like, it's going to take at least $40,000 to $50,000 to fix the thing. So the price I had, it was way too high. And ended up, I ended up not selling the thing, and I went through a lot of that. I went through a lot of getting houses under contract and not being able to sell them because I got them for too much. I had to learn the market, and my first one that I got under contract that I was going to closing with, it was a guy that I knew who was selling a house. It was a nice little rental property, would be a rental property. He owned it actually. So I went to him and I got it under contract and I sent my buyers. By this time, because of those 2 times that I had got houses under contract and not sold, I had a buyers list now. You know, from having our signs on those houses, I had built a buyers list. I had built a group of people who were looking to buy rental properties in my area. So I can't even call it that was a loss because I gained something from that situation that I was going through, you know, from learning my market and also from getting a list in my phone of contacts of guaranteed buyers. So by the time I got this next house in my phone, I had got it. I had to work with this seller. It was crazy. He owed like $9,000 on the property, like from a loan he got out on it, and he was trying to get like $30,000 for it, but I ended up talking him down to $13,000 on it, which was hell because he was crazy. He like was a drug addict. He was crazy, but you know, I talked him down to $13,000. I sent my buyers by that day, and they wanted it for $19,000. So I'm like, damn, I'm about to get $6,000. Man, now mind you, I done got evicted from my house. I done have to move in with my girl. You know, I'm going through financial hell. So I'm like, yes. Matter of fact, I might have still been in my house. So this might have been the time I was like, okay, I can finally pay off my bills and do what I need to do. So I'm like, damn, yes. So cause I've had a contract from a seller and now I got an assignment. now I can put these two together. Like this is celebration time. Like I can actually see that this is what I'm going to make from the seller. You know, so putting those two together was hard at first. But it ends up that when we go to the closing, we're not going to close. I went to meet my buyer to sign the assignment contract at my title company. So when I went, the lady was like, well, it ends up that this guy owes like $16,000 in child support. So I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, well, you know, okay, let's call. I thought it'd be more professional to have my title company call him to tell him what's going on. So, but the title company didn't handle it well. They called the guy like, hey, we're just calling to tell you if you do this closing, you're gonna walk away with nothing, which you never tell nobody. So this guy automatically shuts off. He's like, oh, don't worry about it, then. This is a done deal. This is a done deal. It ain't gonna happen. So I'm like, oh shit. So I'm going over here. I'm offering the dude cash out of my assignment. Like, I'm like, hey, I can't put on paper what you're gonna make, but listen, I'll pay you this out of my pocket in order to get the deal done. But after that, he was pretty much finished. So, and that deal ended up falling through for me, you know, so, I ended up, you know, getting, and it was kind of a continuous cycle of that, man, you know, but I had started cutting hair at this barbershop, and making some money on the side, so I had kept buying bandit signs with my last money, you know what I mean? I get 15 here, 30 there. You know what I'm saying? And just put them up. I was putting them up on telephone posts at the time. So I was still getting calls from people on houses, but there was no deals coming through. And that was like all through. And then after that, that's when I ended up getting put out of my house. So that's when I pretty much ended up moving in with my girl.
I mean, it's not a funny situation, but you
hell no. I was going through it, like, I was so heavy in prayer and meditation, like trying to get through it and trusting God that, you know, it was going to happen for me, you know what I mean? But I like I said, I believe what you guys were talking about, that it was going to happen for me. So, you know, I continued to put out signs, I continued to, try to get a deal done.
This is 1 second. But,
okay. Money.
Yeah, I know it's like office thing. But anyway, so that's fantastic. So, all right, so then, you know, my question, I just want to ask you real fast, because I didn't want to interrupt you again. How did you, you even started putting the bandit signs out to get motivated sellers calling you? I mean, what did you just randomly pick, some place to put bandit signs, or you kind of generally maybe had an idea where you should put them? You know what I mean?
Well, I'm kind of, I think Daniel Wiapi, I listen to a lot of his stuff on bandit signs and stuff like that, and you got some good stuff on bandit signs too. And my thing is, I kind of let my spirit lead me on where I'm gonna put out a sign. I know that's kind of different than what people would say, because I used to put out bandit signs. Where would I look to see and see this sign at? When I'm driving, personally, I try to use my consumer. I see it as, where would I look and I would see this at? Where would it be effective for me at? So at the places like red lights and intersections that are popular to me, I said this is where I'm gonna put my signs out at. You know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes I could just be driving around with signs in my trunk or in my car, and I could just feel like, hey, I'm gonna put a sign here. And I do. I just put a sign out right there. It's that gut feeling. I love the gut feeling.
Yeah. So okay, essentially. So. All right, so now we're kind of going to fast forward to the actual first deal you did, where you actually got a check, Tristan. So how that check come about? I mean, how that deal come about? It was a bandit sign, right? Was it a bandit sign? You got a call from bandit sign? Okay.
Yeah.
About that deal.
Okay. At the time, like I said, I was going through a rough time, and I'm just looking at like people that's getting checks online, like trying to keep the fuel in my tank. You know what I'm saying? So I actually got this call from this guy whose grandmother had saw my bandit sign. He lives in L.A., like California, somewhere in California. And so he called my phone like, hey, I got this house that I've been renting, but I live in California. My grandmother lives in Shreveport, but she's getting older and sicker, so I need to get rid of the property property because she's no longer able to keep up with the property. So I was like, okay, you know, I'm talking to him, and I pretty much learned how to talk to sellers and learn how to negotiate at the time. And I think he wanted like $8,000 for the property at the time. And I was kind of like, okay, I'll go see the property, and take a look at it and see what me and my partners can offer on it. And when I saw it, it was beat up. It needed a whole new roof on it. It was in pretty bad shape. It didn't have any central heating there. And those are the things that, the renters in my area look for. So, you know, I didn't even go inside of the property. Actually, I ended up negotiating with him, and got it down to, I think I got it from him for $4,500, and I got it for $4,500 from him. And I ended up sending my buyer back, because now by this time I've got a guaranteed buyer who's looking to buy like 100 properties a month. Okay, so I'm like, okay, and I can find some, but they know that's a crazy number, but they do.
Wait a minute, literally 100 properties per month, Tristan, or is that just you just threw that out?
They're closing on at least 50 to 60 properties a month. Most of the deals that I've closed have been through them, so I had already met them, and they're saying whatever property you get under contract, we're going to buy it for what price. You know, whatever is in between is on you and your negotiation and what you get with the seller. So I've got that type of deal in my pocket. Now I got to find houses. You know, so I got it with them, and I ended up telling them I was going to sell the property for $10,000. Mm-hmm. All they did was send their contract to buy. They did a drive-by on it. And they were like, okay, we want the house, but we want to see the inside of it. So we went on the inside, ends up it needs a brand new roof. It's like leaking inside of the house while the people are living there. And I think the rent at the time was like $400, so it was a cheap property. But after like 10 minutes after we left the property, my buyer texted me like, yeah, we want to get it, but we want to pay $8,000. So I'm like, hell yeah, that's $3,500. Let's go. So I ended up like setting it up, like I said, got this, I faxed the assignment over to them, got it signed. They sent it back. I deal with their title company, and it ends up the title company that we use. I know the owner of the title company personally, so I'm like, yeah, we can use him. So they get it sent over. So I mean, it went from there, and you know, like I think I ended up having to take like $300 out of my assignment because the seller. Something happened with the deposit because my buyer likes the deposit to be transferred over. So something happened with the deposit or a proration of the rent. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. The proration of the rent wasn't right or something like that. And I was just like, hey, I'm at a point like, hey, just take the fucking $300 out of my check. I don't care. Like, let's just get the deal done. You know, so I mean, it happened. And I was like, damn, I was kind of like at awe that this actually worked. You know? and that's when I started.
Was this, or now the buyers you're talking about, or did they came from a bandit sign as well when you were marketing that first deal? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, because I had another house under contract in this area called the Cooper Road here, and it's kind of a rough area. It's kind of a low income area, but the thing is, people aren't buying in the area because it's hard to rent them out and keep them rented, and it's also hard to resell from there right now. So I had a property under sale with a family of heirs. It was like 5 people on it, and I had got it for $10,000, and I was trying to sell it for $15,000, but it wouldn't sell and it also had it was pier and beam, so it had some leveling issues with the floor, and so I had to get it for cheaper. But of course, because you know it was so many people on the contract, they didn't want to change the prices. But from that house, I had got these buyers in my pocket. You know what I mean? So that's a win. I don't give a damn how long it took. It was a win because, you know, I had got a guaranteed buyer on my team. You know, so and the thing about it is, these buyers like that look for people like us. They want us, so they don't have to worry about looking for houses. They're looking to buy 50, 100 houses a month. They just want to find houses, so they're willing to pay you whatever they need to, and so they can get their houses, so they can build up their inventory. And it's a lot of people out there like that. It's just finding them.
So Tristan, so then when did this? You're absolutely right. So that's, I mean, you fell into a sweet situation with that. So you know what I mean, having a one particular, just one buyer right?
Yeah.
To buy that many properties per month, not over the year, throughout the course of the year, which is still
Right.
is still fantastic, even if it was 50 to 100 houses in
A year. Yeah.
months. But you
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, you're talking 50 to 100 per month, man. So I mean, that's awesome. I mean, that had to be, I'm sure you probably still like on cloud 55 just from the fact that you have that kind of an asset and a client. You know what I'm saying? So when
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead. Well, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah, I was going to ask you when did that first deal of yours close? Was it January or December?
I started putting out bandit signs like at the beginning of September because I got fired September 8th. And my deal, I finally got a deal closed. I got the exact date. It was December 3rd.
Okay.
The exact date was December 3rd at the beginning of December.
Right.
Because it was my girlfriend's birthday and my son's birthday in the same week.
Wow.
My son and my girlfriend's birthday was in the same week, so I was able to do good for them that week.
Right. Wow. Okay. So second deal. So how many deals have you closed to date?
To date I've closed 7.
Okay, 7.
Yeah.
Okay, so you closed.
To date I've closed.
Go ahead. You closed the deal.
You go ahead.
No, so
today?
No, I thought you were going to say you closed the deal today. I thought you were closing.
No.
Okay.
I actually got one pending, and I'm waiting on. I'm supposed to close one this week though.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So you closed your first one in December. Did you close any more in December?
Yeah. I closed 3 in December.
3 total.
Yeah.
And so how much total, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, just, while we're...
In December, I made $12,000.
Okay. And so January is the month, I think, is the blow-up month, right? I'm in February, so January, you closed how many deals? Was it like 3, Tristan, right? Was it 3 or 4 January? And checks totaled how much?
In January I made like 32,000.
Right. Wow. And folks, listen to this. I mean, again, like if you're not like about to fall out your chair, just in the fact that he just got started. September, he took action September 2013, 6 months ago. Well, it'll be 6 months in March. It's 5 months ago. Tristan has made 32 plus 12 is 44, right?
Yeah. I've made about $45,000 since I started wholesaling.
And that's what some people make in a year, and that's before tax. Okay, that's not after tax. Well, there are people, you know what I'm saying? That's like a salary for some people, Yeah,
the average yearly income in my state is $33,000, and I don't know nobody that makes $33,000 a year. So I think that's based on middle class type people, because nobody where I'm from, nobody that I know makes $33,000 a year. I'd probably say the average of people that I know personally is probably $18,000 to $20,000 a year after taxes. So to do that in a month for me is a miracle. It's crazy.
Right. That's awesome, Tristan. So, I mean, I know, your family, everybody's like, just go on and keep doing what you're doing, right?
pretty much.
Help? You need any assistance? You need help in any kind of way, So,
everybody now is like, how do you do it? I want to do it. Like, but I'm like,
they know where you came from. They know what your experiences have been. You're not making this up. They see your success in action for them. So it's like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I can do this. So if nothing else, you are sending a message. You're a living message that, hey, if it can work for me, because everybody has, if it can work for me, all right? It don't matter where you come from or what you were doing, If it can work for me, it can work for you, just like it worked for countless other people. So, you know what I mean? So what are you doing now, Tristan? I mean, bandit signs, I'm sure you probably have included some other methods of marketing to generate motivated seller leads? Are you doing direct mail now, or?
Yeah. Well, when you get money, you got a couple more options. You know what I mean? I buy like 200 bandit signs at a time, and I try to do 20 signs. Hold on one second. I try to do about 20 signs a week. So, I mean, and I also did some absentee lists. I mailed like 1,000 absentee people, but I don't like that list. I don't like it and the reason why I don't like it now, I mean, I might like it down the road, but as of right now, from my experience with the absentee list, I didn't like it because mostly what I got was landlord, exactly. And that's why I didn't like the absentee list. I mostly got landlords who are happy with their property, but I'm sending them a postcard that says, "I'll buy your property." Right. And what they take, and I go back to what I said before. I would take, how would I feel if I got this card? Mm-hmm. If somebody sent me a card that said, "I want to buy your MacBook," I love my MacBook. I don't want to sell my MacBook. I don't want to take it back. Right. But if somebody sent me a card that said, "I want to buy your MacBook," I would say, "Well, shit, how much you want to pay for it?" Right. You can have it. And then I'm going to want more than what I paid for it. You know what I mean? So,
especially if it's relatively new. So,
right, exactly.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? It holds its value. MacBooks, hold its value. So exactly. It's not like, oh, you're going to get a major person wanting to buy one, even though it's used, you're going to get this major, massive discount. So,
on that list, most of the landlords are not motivated. They're mostly just, okay, what do you want to give me for it? Right. Or they give you a ridiculous price on what they're going to give you, want to sell it to you for. Right. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't work, because I'm sure it does for some people. I think it's a good thing because I got a lot of activity on my phone from the postcards, but at the same time, I'm just not in a position in my business where I want to even deal with all that. I had I made the money that I made off bandit signs.
Right. And, too, like you said, I mean, it all depends on the list. Now, you need to, if you're going to do direct mail, because I'm going to tell you this, 2 mailings ago, the end of December and then into January was the very first time, because I've marketed to absentee owners free and clear. Not just absentee owners. I never marketed to just absentee owners. I marketed to absentee.
Yeah, the ones I marketed to were free and clear too.
Right, free and clear. And I mean, I would just get deals. I mean, it was just, but this was the first time that I didn't contract one deal. Okay? I never had that experience before. And so, it was like these people just like, sitting back like they're smoking a stogie or something, making an offer, And, I can't make an offer on something that I really, I need to see the inside, and I'm not running out. So, I've had to switch up because, if you're, you gotta really know, and I don't take this the wrong way, but I mean, for motivated sellers, they got to be experiencing some kind of distress in their life.
I heard Armando Montelago say it was the 5 or 4 D's or something: death, distress, disease, or divorce. Mm-hmm. It was something else, debt. That's what it was, the 5 D's.
Right.
And I believe in that. And I was saying to this guy who was on actually on the Facebook group that you started, and I was like, and I was talking about it, and he was saying everybody's motivated by something. You got to find their pain. I was like, man, everybody's not motivated. If somebody sent me a card that said they wanted to buy my computer, I would sell it to them. I'm not motivated. I'll be motivated by the money. If they want to pay me more than what I'm paying, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you always got to take that into consideration that we're trying to deal with motivated sellers here. Don't waste your time with people that's not motivated.
Right.
And then somebody might not be motivated this week, and a month later, okay, now they motivated because something has happened where they got to get this sale done. They need the cash, or they need to get out of the property.
Right. So, Tristan, are there, because I know you got stuff to do, I got stuff to do. And, when we first started recording earlier before we had some technical difficulties, Tristan was wheeling and dealing on the phone, man. Actually, I know he's telling the truth. I mean, not that I doubt him, but, just to confirm for the folks that are watching this, he was on the phone. Somebody had called, off of a bandit sign, right? Tristan, the person lived here, or no. They lived here, but they had a family member that had a property in Little Rock, Arkansas. So I'm sure, people, you can reach out to somebody to kind of be your boots on the ground and maybe even check the property out. So those are the types of things that happen. I mean, bandit signs do work. So my question to you is your market inundated with, bandit signs everywhere you turn, like Philadelphia, okay, a city like this? You see them just like you become oblivious to it because you see them all the time. You know what I mean? Like, they're every freaking where. So
no, it's not oversaturated at all. I got a few people out there who do what I do. And sometimes you put out bandit signs and people take them down and stuff like that. I have people call me saying that I take their bandit signs down, and I tell them why. Why would I want to take your bandit sign down? Like, it's so much opportunity out here. What would I get out of it? You know what I mean? It's not worth it. If I see somebody sign on the corner, I can go a couple blocks down, a mile down the road, and put it there. Like, it's no big deal. And the other thing I do as far as marketing, I do driving for dollars too. I've done that from the beginning. I try to do about 40 to 50 addresses, and I find them on the tax assessor's office, and I send out the yellow letters. I just sent out 20 the other day, actually. I haven't got any calls off of it, but I still do it because, it's free to drive around and take down addresses, and it only costs a few bucks to mail it off. I'm actually about to invest in putting a billboard up. It's like $100 a month here, so I'm about to put up a billboard, and I'm also gonna do bus stop. Put some stuff on bus stops and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. I'm about to do that because I think it's, for me personally, as far as marketing, I see it better than as of now, because I haven't found the right niche as far as direct mail. I see it better when somebody sees my sign or sees something on a billboard, because I take it for personally again when I see something and I say, man, I've been looking to sell this house. I'm gonna call these people. They're more likely to give you a discounted price because they're motivated because they called you. You didn't call them or exactly.
So
exactly
right, which is different than direct mail, which is not to take anything from direct mail. I mean,
no,
there's direct mail works, but I see the point. And this is the other thing. Whereas with direct mail, right, be it postcard, be it a yellow letter or whatever you're sending, you have to follow up. I mean, you don't have to do that. You put it out one time.
Yeah.
In a location where it makes sense to put it because, you're going to get a lot of eyeballs on it.
Right.
We know just from, what we learned about this business that it takes, depending on, where you're getting the statistic from, 4 to 8, 5 to 12, 8 to 12 times for somebody to see something, that thing is working for you 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it may take a person 4 to 5 or 6 or 7, 8 times before they take action, the action you want, and pick up that phone. However, you're not the one out there having to. It's doing the work for you. So, and I mean that's excellent. If you can do a billboard for $100 a month, I think that's money well spent. There's it's a good way to invest your money, and I hear it probably would be. Probably a lot more because I've considered it myself, and because I want to do some things different and stand out from the rest of what everybody else is doing.
That's what it's about. Trying to find a different way to get your name out there and stuff like that.
Brand yourself too. Tristan, I mean, you could become. We know of a guy. What's it? Kenny. Out in Tampa, I believe. You know who I'm talking about. Kenny Rushing, okay?
Yeah.
Kenny Rushing has done a fantastic job at branding himself and networking. You know?
Yeah, I actually want to get one of those trucks with the wrapped advertisement on it too. Eventually down the road, I made some money this month, but I had a lot of stuff that I had to take care of.
Right.
So, and I invested a lot of that money in getting my credit right, and taking care of some old legal issues and stuff like that. So because, I mean, the credit repair part is very important for me because, down the road, you know, I'm definitely going to do rehabs. I'm definitely going to try to get, a couple rental houses first, and then I want to get a large apartment. Like at least about a 24 to a 50 room apartment complex. I mean, because it's all about finding that cash flow asset, that you can have. And without credit, you know, it's very hard to do that. So I've spent and invested a lot of my money in trying to, build that up, so that I can get in position to get some business loans.
Right. Well, we'll talk after the call, but we'll talk about the apartment building stuff. But anyway, so, you know, we'll wrap it up here because, you know, you and I have been chatting long before the actual video interview. So, I mean, just to, what would you recommend or suggest to anyone who's watching, this video interview, some parting words, some words of advice, as to,
what now?
As to what they could do. I mean, what do you think, based on your experience from, up until this point, what one thing would you recommend somebody do? I mean, to be able to duplicate what you've been able to do, up until this point, in your market. So,
I mean,
the kind of success that you had, and to achieve it as quickly. I think that's most important. Not only have you, managed to achieve some financial success doing what you do as a wholesaler, but you've achieved it in a time frame that many people can't. I can't say that. Many people can't say I closed on my first deal 2-3 months into doing this stuff, and after 2 weeks, I started taking action. So, if you're listening, that's what you need to do. That's what you should be doing, right? Do what Tristan did. Just immerse yourself in learning. Don't study too long, all right? Because then you don't want to get stuck in not doing anything, but take action. So, we got
I mean, people have too many damn questions about every damn thing. Like, Adora, Mike, Tyrone, all these, Sean Terry, these people can lay out the blueprint like nothing, but people still got something to ask. I don't got shit to ask. The only thing I can ask is, what am I going to do today?
Right.
I put into all I got to do is implement the stuff that's laid out in front of me and take the path. I don't have to change nothing. I don't have to rewrite nothing. I just do it. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about to me, getting it done. And like I said, the 3 books I would suggest for everybody to read is, 1, The Law of Success in 16 Lessons by Napoleon Hill, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I had another one that that was in my, forgot, but those 2 for sure, and Think and Grow Rich too. But because the Think and Grow Rich and
you can always message me those other books, and then I can, when I upload this, I'll put it in the description for folks.
Yeah.
They'll see it there.
But those 2 for sure. And the thing that, man, I don't ask questions, just follow the instruction and get it done. It was hard at first, but it is a simple process, but it's hard as hell. It's hard as hell beginning. Like right now, I've slowed down. Like in January, December, I was going hard. I was getting a lot of calls, getting a lot of motivated sellers, getting a lot of deals, because I can get a lot of calls. If it's not a deal, it's not a deal. Right. But so I've slowed down here in the month of February. I haven't got any houses under contract in the month of February yet. I went and seen some houses, but I haven't got anything under contract. But thank God I had got some money, and I saved my money where I can kind of leverage for a few months if I have to. But I'm still marketing, putting out bandit signs. I went to actually have been going to the courthouse, following Adora's instruction about probate. So I found out how to do the probate list. When I went up there a few times, it's crazy. Like it's a diligent work. And it sometimes can be frustrating, but I went up there and I'm still going to go back up there and try to get that list done. I want to get into code enforcement stuff. So, it's all about getting off your ass and trying to go find how to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So just to be clear, you say you slowed down, not because of anything you're not doing, just because the calls aren't coming in the way that they have been coming. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. I mean, I'm thinking because my buyers, I have several different buyers who are looking to buy a lot of different rental properties. Mm-hmm. I don't have just that one that wants about 50. I have another one that wants about 50. I have like 3 different ones that are buying like that. And then I also have people that like buy and flip. I have people that just look for 1 or 2 rental properties. Right. So, I have an extensive buyers list and it's always growing. But I also ask them like, hey, are y'all buying any properties right now? And they're telling me, no, we're looking for properties too. So I think it's more about the weather here. We're not as used to the cold weather here in Louisiana like y'all are in Philly. So, people kind of shut it down. I think it'll start up a lot more when it warms up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's good. That was smart what you did with the money. So this has been a really, really great interview. I really appreciate you, being a real trooper too, because we had to cancel once before because I was sick. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. And, I was just the worst cold, man. That week. So, but I appreciate you, being willing to come back and do this video interview. So anyway, like Tristan made mention of the fact that we have a group. So, unlike Tristan, he did have the benefit of video, with YouTube and learning that way. And I encourage everybody that's watching, this video to please do that. However, myself and my partner, Sherelle, we, all going on 2 years now, we started a group because we saw a need, a Facebook group called Free Real Estate Wholesaling Training for Newbies. Again, that's Free Real Estate Wholesaling Training for Newbies. It's a closed group, so you don't have to feel uncomfortable about people maybe seeing what you're posting because, in an open group, you get that. So, it's a great community. Tristan's also a member. He contributes as well. It's really a great learning environment and everybody wanting to help each other succeed. And I don't know if you're hearing that sound, but it seems like it's getting louder and louder and louder. So please visit us there and join us there. And as always, also before we go, please, if you're on this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you and take care.
Peace.